I think if the thing that were happening in China is happening in the U.S., then it would be a very different story. I mean, they might have to cancel the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Do you know how bad things are right now over there?
In China?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. I mean, I read like Reddit and stuff, and conspiracy pages and stuff, and it
Yeah.
sounds like it's a lot worse than what people are saying. And you probably have more insight on that than me. But a lot of people are saying that the U.S. news media is kind of holding off until after the Super Bowl before they start allowing things through. But they might just keep it shut off just to keep it.
Well, I don't think it benefits anybody to not take action. So I think the best thing to do is watch actions rather than read words. So it sort of goes without saying that any number that's reported by the Chinese government, everybody knows that it's going to
Right.
be distorted.
Hmm.
It's a given. Every person knows that. So it doesn't even, to me, make sense to say, "Oh, did you know that the numbers might be underreported?" Of course they're underreported.
Hmm.
So the thing to look at then is, what is the Chinese government doing? What are their actions? And their actions are extremely clear.
Shutting
They're
off
actually
entire
doing
provinces
well.
and
They're
stuff.
actually doing a really good job. They shut down an entire city. There are piles of dirt at the end of every road in Wuhan. They
Is that
are
really? I mean, no. I think if they were to have done a good job, they wouldn't have had to get to that point, right? I
well
don't know.
that's true that they should have acted earlier, but actually it seems to be the local Wuhan government which kind of screwed up and delayed reporting it, and could have done that earlier rather than
It's
the
just like the Chernobyl thing, right? That's what
right.
everybody says. It's
Yeah,
similar to Chernobyl.
similar to that. So, but now, I mean, the actions are pretty clear. I talk to students from China every day.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's inside. The only time people go out is to maybe go to the edge of their community to pick up groceries that are being delivered to
Right.
the local
So
communities.
tell me, how bad do you think it really is then, based on the people that you've talked to? Are there any estimation of accurate numbers? Or
Uh, no, no, I don't think there's an estimation of an accurate number. I mean, there are the official numbers, and most people would probably agree that it's higher than that. But to speculate, I think
it's hard to
is
tell.
not really
What about
useful.
death? Any sign of death toll that nobody can? Because I mean,
Um,
those numbers have to be higher too, right?
Again, it's I hesitate to sort of say this one and this one, or this theory and that theory, because
Yeah,
they're impossible to verify, because
it's
you
true.
will have people who are going to throw things out, fake accounts. So 1 out of 10 might be real. But the thing is, if you start to go down that rabbit hole, which is fine and interesting, it doesn't really get you anywhere other than where you started, which is the default assumption that any number reported by the government is going to be lowballed. So,
Hmm.
so I just look at the actions. The actions taken are they're building 2 hospitals. One is completed already to
Hmm.
have a quarantine in Wuhan. The entire city is shut down. People across the entire country, including people in Beijing, everywhere are staying indoors. Nobody is leaving
Uh-huh.
their homes. Everybody's staying inside.
Yeah, I've seen videos. It's like a
They're
complete ghost town.
the streets are virtually empty. They are trying to get foreigners out, and they're putting them in quarantine facilities in the U.S. before they release them. So I think the actions are good, but the strength of the actions suggests the scale of it, and I think the fact that the WHO finally declared it a national emergency, and the U.S. government declared it a national emergency, or rather,
Hmm.
the WHO declared it a global emergency, and the U.S.
How
government.
many deaths outside of China so far? One, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but
It's a little weird. What do you think? Like, I know that there's any number of crazy conspiracy theories, but
yeah.
what about the one about China that they're doing it intentionally to stop protests, to separate foreigners from mainland Chinese people, and like it's like the first step to locking shit down?
I don't think that's likely.
No,
No,
nothing to it.
the economic
The economic,
downside to
yeah.
that is too great. They wouldn't shut down their whole country. I mean, that would be the equivalent of a reboot to try to ferret out some deviant factor. But that deviant factor, the mainland China is not worried about Hong Kong. They don't care
Hmm.
about protesters in Hong Kong. That's not a concern for them. Hong Kong is shooting themselves in the foot at this point. So to try to do a sort of cold reboot on that, just to eliminate that that concern. I
Yeah.
don't think it matches with the economic setback that is caused by basically shutting down the country during the Chinese New Year.
Yeah, if the protests were somewhere else, and I don't see it happening during Chinese New Year either.
Why would they do it during Chinese New Year? Yeah, I think it's real, and I think it's confirmed by the fact that there are cases abroad, and I think that it's confirmed by the fact that the WHO is an international organization.
I don't believe anything about the WHO any more than I would believe. I mean, I believe nothing from anywhere in the news.
Well,
I mean,
but okay,
for sure.
The thing to do is just watch actions.
Right.
What is happening? That's the only thing. I think that's the only compass that you have here is to say what is happening. Global emergencies are being declared. Cities are being shut down.
Yeah.
Quarantines are happening, and so I think we should be concerned because the
definitely, yeah.
I mean the real threat is the fact that the incubation period of the virus is 14 days, and you can transmit. It's unlikely. It's less likely to transmit,
right.
but you can transmit within the 14-day period, which means you could infect a ton of people.
And not only that, but and we still know next to nothing about the illness. There might be, supposedly there are potentially factors to it that can stay with you after that. I mean, and you might be susceptible to getting it again. It's not like once you get it and you're cured, you're then immune, from what I've been reading recently. And we know nothing about it in general.
Yeah.
So we know nothing. We don't really know the death rate.
Right.
People will speculate that it's around 2%, which is not great, but not the worst thing possible. But it might be much higher because we won't know until it runs its course.
Right. Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting to see in the Western media, I don't think there hasn't been that much big news about it in the last.
No, yesterday they announced a national state of emergency. Though it was announced.
Yeah, on a Saturday. I mean, it's not like they're really pushing it, though.
No, they're not really pushing it. That's true.
They don't want, I guess, which is understandable. You don't want panic.
Well, it's a tricky thing because, should people be worried? I think people should be worried, but it's not like it doesn't seem to be the kind like SARS level as far as
death rate.
I mean,
I think 10% for SARS.
Yeah, most people who catch it would get over it, and it's more people with compromised immune systems, the elderly. And I'm not saying that who cares
I don't
about
know
the elderly,
if they know
but
that for sure. But yeah,
the average death rate in China is 59. The average age.
Well, you're just talking about. Oh, okay.
Of the 304 people.
Still, the recovered versus death rate is not that much less than 50%. But doesn't mean that it's actually 50% death toll.
Yeah.
But because you don't know how many people are right.
Right, we don't know.
So that's the frustrating thing about it. It seems like the rate at which it's spreading is much worse than SARS and MERS and Ebola and all that stuff. So it's definitely different than all those things, just for the rate of spread and the
virality of it.
Right, because it's not what's it called? Droplet spread. You don't have to actually kiss somebody or be sneezed right up your nose. It could just actually come through your skin or your eyes just by being on the same train as somebody. I mean, it's still, I guess technically it could be particulate, but
it is droplets still. But it'd be very
through the air though,
droplets.
not like Ebola where you get blood on you or something, or you're eating something.
Yeah, you need to lick someone's armpit before you can catch it.
Yeah, it's funny
you need to
see
kiss them right on the eyeball. You need to lift up their eyelid.
Actually, I can.
Yeah,
that's what I'm picturing you doing with a mug like that.
Don't lick my armpit, please. Don't do it. What?
Actually,
what do you think's in this cup anyway? Armpit juice. Forget about it.
That's pretty gross. But yeah. So what about? I mean, you're in New York. I feel like I'm in a much safer place being in the. The only person within a quarter mile of myself and Lorena, we're the only people within a quarter mile of ourselves basically all the time. So we don't have to be next to other people. But in New York, you're next to people all the time. I know they're investigating a potential first case that hasn't been confirmed yet, right?
But I've heard authorities say that it's virtually inevitable. So I'm assuming it's going to happen. I bought a mask, as you know, but
you got multiple Chinatowns there,
right? Yeah, that's true. I bought a mask just to be safe. I mean, as I think you saw in the video that I made that hand washing and mask wearing can bring down, even if it's a surgical mask, can bring down the rate of flu spread by 70%, which is
Yeah.
pretty significant. So